everybody, and welcome back to the Pit and Paddock Race Show. Formula One, we're in Australia for our favorite type of race, the wet type.
The wet type.
I love it when it rains. After all the rookies mistook the track for a mosh pit, Norris held on for the win, followed closely by Verstappen, with Russell in a distant third.
New driver, Haji, won the first place for not finishing, crashing on the formation lap.
How do you crash on the formation lap?
That was rough.
I did hear the commentator say something about, well, the paint isn't FIA-approved paint because it's not a permanent circuit. I'm like, dude.
There's 20 cars out there on the same track not crashing. Well, at that exact moment.
Yeah.
Oh, what was after that?
Oh,
Doohan then crashed.
Doohan crashed.
Lap one.
Yeah.
Who was the other rookie?
And Sainz crashed under the safety car.
Yes.
Sainz complained that his car had an unexpected heavy torque moment. What does that mean?
I don't know.
That means I screwed up.
Yeah, I hit the accelerator too hard.
Yeah, and put it in the wall.
That was disappointing.
We have to remember, like, the formation lap, they're still going like 60 miles an hour on that track.
Yeah.
Right. They're not slow, but still, you're getting paid millions of dollars to not crash the $1 million car.
Don't crash the car.
At least Lewis's dad jumped out to console Haji on his long, embarrassing walk back.
He had his head in his hands the entire time.
He was like this in the helmet. His hands in the helmet.
Weeping like a little baby girl.
He was literally crying like a little girl.
And Helmut Marko made fun.
The boss of your team mocks you for crying. Well, Germans don't put up with that crap. Or wait, is he Austrian?
I think he's Austrian.
Close enough.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yep.
Well, the gravel trap took care of the track limits concern there on that back chicane.
Why is that so hard? For track limits, just throw out some gravel.
Yeah, there you go. No one's gonna have any issues there.
Or grass, slippery grass works too.
That works just as well.
I liked lap 45, pastry spins, and dashes all the Australian dreams.
I could hear the audible sighs and groans of the thing. I was gonna say their dreams were dashed when the pandemic hit and their civil liberties turned out to be imaginary, but
oh yeah,
they seemed less upset about that than pastry crashing out of the race.
You're being arrested for posting a meme that says the virus isn't real. Sorry.
We're also going to punch you in the face and choke you to death.
Oh yeah.
That was when. Oh yeah, that was right after when it started raining. That's when he spun out, and Lando came in for inners, probably right when pastry should have. Max took a gamble, thought maybe he could stay out on the slicks for a couple laps. Didn't really work out, but it was worth a shot, he said after the race.
And then Hamilton got the rude awakening to Ferrari strategy when they told him to stay out on slicks.
He kind of got bitch slapped by Ferrari strategy. It's like, welcome to the team, bud.
Oh yeah,
this is what we do here.
We don't really have a strategy team at Ferrari. We just kind of make a big guess and.
Bono, where's Bono?
Yeah, I'm sure he was begging for his Mercedes team right about then. But then Leclerc spun, still on slicks. They left him out saying, "It's not going to rain, just hang on." Oh, and then it rained a lot. Lewis finished after the race saying that the car was really, really hard to drive, and it went much worse than he expected. And he's glad he didn't put it in the wall.
Some of those guys stayed out on slicks, and it was pretty wet, and that was kind of impressive. Max and Charles.
Charles is not always the greatest in the wet.
No, but he didn't crash the car, which is better than the rookies, I guess.
Yeah, he just looped it. So the fifth year of the Formula is supposed to be the most competitive racing because everybody's kind of caught up. But you know what? The two McLarens had over a 9-second gap halfway through the race, which gives me concern.
The random rainstorms seem to help that out a little bit.
Yeah, safety cars. If there had not been safety cars, McLaren looked like they were checked out.
I think we'll find out in China more of how
Oh,
that's gonna.
I was sitting there wondering how long until we start to see upgrades from the other teams.
Max made a decent charge at the end.
Yeah, that gives you a little bit of hope.
Or was Lando cutting back just to, don't overdrive the car, save the power unit kind of a thing there at the end? Probably a little of both.
It was still kind of wet at the end, so
Yeah.
it's hard to tell because you can tear those inners up real quick, and then nobody knows how good your car really was.
I don't know, but last year the whole beginning and end of the season was a complete switch around. So
We were broadcasting or promoting doom and gloom at the beginning of the season. We're like ready for the next formula already. Red Bull was so far ahead, and then it kind of evened out.
yeah. It was nice to see Liam Lawson take over right where Sergio Perez left off. Just crashes in qualifying out in the first round of qualifying, I believe. Nope, started from the pit lane even.
Yes,
So even worse than that.
because he smashed the car up too much.
And finishes dead last almost.
Wasn't he kind of cocky at the end of last year and running his mouth a little bit? And
Welcome to Sergio's car, I guess.
yeah, it's cursed.
Man, it's a tough one to be in.
Oh yeah, he had some Aztec witch doctor curse that car before he left. Mercedes was 3 and 4 at the end, which was surprising. After I swear I saw the German chancellor promising he would bolster NATO's forces by sending all the Italian drivers to the Ukrainian front,
That sounds like them.
because they have more Italian drivers than they have actual soldiers in Germany.
I'm sure they'll send a strongly worded letter to someone.
Yes.
We'll form a committee. Williams snuck all the way up to P5, and it wasn't Carlos this time.
It does seem like they might have a decent car this year, like head of the midfield car, maybe?
It's going to be kind of tough. I hope a little tough to make fun of him this year, maybe, huh?
Yeah.
Unless Sainz continues crashing by himself.
So what was Ferrari? Ferrari looked so good in practice. They were first or second in practice all weekend. Then they get to qualifying and fall apart. Was it? Do they have a bad car this year, or is it just kind of some bad strategies?
Well, I go straight to the bad strategies.
Well, yeah, bad choices, I should say.
Yeah. And they probably aren't really that great in the wet, is my guess, too. That doesn't help them.
China's gonna shake things out, I think. China's a long speed track, though. Mercedes used to do really well there.
They've got those two really long straightaways.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
China's like Daytona for NASCAR. It doesn't really mimic any other track.
Yeah, that's pretty different. Did they go last year? It seems like it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they did go last year.
Sauber managed to get a P7 on the weekend, so apparently Haas is taking the year off and not Sauber.
Man, Haas looks awful. How did Sauber pass Haas? Wait, Haas was they finished not third to last year.
Yeah, they didn't finish last. I thought they would improve and Sauber would fall back and be focusing on next year, but maybe Haas is doing that.
Maybe it's just the new drivers.
And the only reason Haas is finished where they did is because half the field crashed out.
Yeah. Did they actually get points?
No.
No. Okay. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
No. It was good to see Ollie Behrman continue the tradition of Haas rookies destroying their cars.
Got to pick up where Schumacher left off.
Every single time. They're halfway through the season and already through their entire budget for the year.
Sorry, we can't do upgrades because we have to keep fixing the cars. In other news, the FIA announced a mini DRS rule, which immediately I thought had something to do with Japanese Boy Scouts. But it turns out it has something to do with the wing gaps, like the vertical wing gaps where the DRS moves, and having too wide of a gap, which gives you a slight advantage on the straights, or I don't know. Anyway, you can't do that anymore.
Oh,
I think they're going to give them like you have to have it fixed after the Chinese Grand Prix when it really matters.
okay. FIA is always closing loopholes. I saw that Stefano Domenicali, the FIA CEO, I believe, or the Formula One CEO, him and other F1 leadership are visiting Bangkok next week for discussions with local officials about a new Grand Prix. When asked for comment, he said, "This trip is only for preliminary discussions and has nothing to do with the abundance of cheap hookers and drugs all over Thailand."
Don't forget the lady men. Pit and Paddock is an inclusive show.
I'm sure some of the paddock would be happy about that.
Bangkok. Is that an Oriental city?
I remember one night there.
One night in Bangkok?
What a stupid song.
Makes a hard man humble.
Were they playing chess in the video for some reason?
The whole song was about playing chess, and yeah,
Interesting.
the whole song was just weird, and yet it was a big hit. Next up, Formula One goes straight to China for the COVID Grand Prix in Shanghai. Predictions, I'm thinking it's going to be McLaren. So I say it's Norris Pastry, and then I think George Russell for third. I wanted to say Leclerc, but who knows what's going on with Ferrari.
Yeah, that sounds probably correct. I would like to, Leclerc would be fun, but the Ferrari's going to do something stupid.
Yeah.
It always happens.
It'll be either Russell or Verstappen rounding out the podium.
Yeah, they don't. The Red Bulls aren't quite the straight line speed demons.
Everybody copied all their good ideas and did it a little better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why didn't the Japanese team get better than? I'm talking about Haas, because,
Haas Toyota Gazoo?
Yeah, Haas Toyota. They count as a Japanese team.
NASCAR was in fabulous Las Vegas for the Loose Wheel 300, where someone named not Christopher Bell has won a cup race.
Finally.
Finally.
What, do you have 3 in a row?
3 in a row.
Wow.
I was rooting against him. I'm
Yeah.
so tired of it.
Sorry, we don't need any more famous people. Who's had 4? Earnhardt, Gordon.
What's the last one who did it? Maybe Hamlin did it once.
Did he?
4 wins in a row. Jimmy Johnson probably. I don't know.
Cale Yarbrough.
Richard Petty.
Yeah.
Well, Josh Berry held on for the win over Suarez, with Ryan Preece following for third.
That was a decent finish.
Yeah. Kind of
Yeah.
unexpected. If anyone bet on that top 3, you're probably a millionaire.
Yeah, it wasn't a super exciting race, but the end got. It's like watching the NBA. You can just take a nap and then open up like the last 5 minutes of the game, and
Pretty much.
yeah, or
Yeah.
hockey.
You get a lot of that on the bigger track sometimes. The race started off with Michael McDowell on his first career pole, which amounted immediately to nothing.
You get points, right?
No,
No points for pole?
they do a fastest lap point now.
Hmm.
Nothing. They should do a point for pole. I think that's
Yeah.
worth getting a point over. Stage 1 went by. The cars were racing, and it was won by Austin Cindric. That's what I got out of it.
Not much else happened.
That pretty much amounted to nothing.
Yeah, didn't help him much either. Oh, he does get points for the stage win, though.
Yes, that is handy later in the season. If he wins a race. Did he win a race? Not this year. Lap 103, Kyle Larson shot to the lead, and I thought the race was going to be over, but that also amounted to nothing.
Yeah, I thought Larson usually does well at Las Vegas.
It's usually like Larson, Byron, Hamlin, Bell, Bubba Wallace. It's
Yeah.
like that Toyota group and Hendrick group that's always up at the top.
Hmm.
That's the big 3 there all the time. Ryan Blaney had a bit of a rough day. Some
Ooh.
early trouble, a lot of pit stop trouble, And then he crashed out with 72 laps to go.
Yeah, he was one of the faster cars to start the race. Him and
Yeah, the Penske's,
Logano.
him and Logano, all sorts of trouble. He's one of my favorite to listen on the radio because he gets angry and and starts swearing about it.
Blustering Blaney.
Yeah,
There was a lot of pit road speeding penalties, I noticed.
seemed like there was two or three every time they went down pit road. I saw Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Logano early, Blaney. A lot of wheel problems too.
Yeah, I like the best one was the Kurt Busch runaway wheel, like off the wall, split apart, and scored more points than the Toyotas.
That's his home race. I was like, man, maybe he'll get a good finish. He's running well. Nope.
Tire. He wasn't careful, and he cut a tire.
I liked. It was Christopher Bell who didn't get one of the tires tightened all the way, and his crew chief had him pull into his teammate's pit stall. They looked pretty confused, but eventually they got on there and tightened it.
Somebody radioed down because the guy with the wrench was like, "This one, nope, jumps over the car. This one, nope, jump back over the car. This one."
What are we doing? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just do it. Good strategy, because if the wheel comes off on the track, you lose 2 laps, and your tire changer gets suspended for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
And having the other guy change it on pit road is just tail end of the longest line. So pretty quick thinking strategy there.
Good job, crew chief.
I don't think I've ever seen that before either.
Stupid Van Gibbons. Wait, what's his name? SVG?
I think you had it. I think that was it.
That was it. He struggled quite a bit. Spun on lap 108, cut his tire, lap 128, spins again with 78 to go. If I'm him, I'm not putting 8 on the roulette wheel.
No, he misses those right turns, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
After the third spin, I think they went to his radio, and his crew chief was like, "Yeah, we're going to go ahead and park it. I think we're good for the day.
We don't want to smash this thing up anymore."
That third spin is enough. That was kind of rough. 78 laps to go. Evil Knievel had a pretty rough landing. Head first into the wall.
Yeah, that didn't look pretty.
Little Ty Gibbs got spun in pit lane and ended up going with the reverse facing pit stop. As he spins, the crew's like, "What? Well, let's just keep going."
Okay, change the tires. Gas can guys trying to run around with.
It's on the other side.
It's on the other side. I was wondering why they had Evil Knievel. I thought they were advertising the new Evil Knievel museum, but that's not in Las Vegas.
Why wouldn't it be in Las Vegas?
I don't know. Well, it's not. Let me take it back. It's not at the original location. It might still be in Las Vegas, but I had heard it was going to be in Oklahoma, and I don't know. But I didn't see anything about museum on there. It just said Evil Knievel. So maybe they paid Evil Knievel to be able to put him on there.
Interesting.
Good.
I heard someone mention that Rick Ware, the owner, owns part of the brand of Evil Knievel also, which might be pretty interesting.
They did. I almost got picked to design their downtown museum. One of my clients owned a building downtown, like 4th Street, and they had a bunch of space, and they were going to build the Evil Knievel museum there, and then the deal fell apart.
Vegas is a much better place than Oklahoma.
Oh, I know.
Wow.
And if they picked a different spot in Vegas, I haven't heard about it, but you would think you would want to put it on the Strip or downtown.
Strip or close by.
Yeah, where people can actually walk over to the museum.
You're going to get people going if it's walking distance.
Yeah. There might be a Game of Thrones museum.
Oh.
I take it back. There is a Game of Thrones exhibit at the MGM, and it might move to the Westgate Hotel.
Have you seen it?
No, I just hear things.
Does it really drop off poorly towards the end of it, or?
I would expect nothing less.
Yeah. Sad. Well.
Anyway, it ended well. The race, not the Game of Thrones. The race ended well.
We got a caution with 25 to go when Gregson and Kyle Busch hit the wall again, which left us with our Suarez Berry battle. Suarez ended up getting off pit road first, but Josh Berry got by him pretty quickly and held him off to win for 25 laps and got his first career win.
That was first ever?
First career win.
First one for the Wood brothers in like 2 decades, right?
When did they... Oh, no, they got the Daytona win last year for...
That was like a survival win, wasn't it?
The lucky Daytona win.
Yeah.
From the guy they fired.
Yeah. Yeah, that was more of the, holy, I didn't get crashed out, so I win the race.
But this is pretty much their first win on an actual track since, like, I don't know, Blaney drove for him, like, 10 years ago or something.
Well, good for them. Good for Ford. What's Ford doing winning on a 1.5 mile track?
Wood Brothers is pretty much the fourth Penske team anyways, so it's kind of disappointing that they haven't been that great recently.
Are they like to Penske what Haas is to Ferrari?
More. They work out of Penske's shop.
Oh, well, that's even more helpful.
Yeah.
What did you think of paint schemes?
A bit of a step up for some of them this week. I liked Bubba Wallace. The 23 car, Air Force, had a stealth bomber paint scheme. That was pretty cool. You couldn't see it at all, though.
Yeah, it was hard to see, like the stealth bomber, because it was stealth. Yeah,
see, that's funny. Welcome.
Yeah, I kind of like that one. I went with Ware's Evil Knievel car because, I get to design Evil Knievel's stand for his rocket thing.
That was a good one. They never showed his driver suit because last year he wore his driver suit was the Evil Knievel looking suit.
That's a cool suit.
Yeah.
Did it have the cape?
I doubt it.
You gotta have the cape. It's got to be better than Elio Castronema's Wendy's
apron.
Wendy's, his working the drive-through suit.
Well, I did find a bad paint scheme. Was that a Backstreet Boys car in the race? Did you see that? Was it the 42?
That literally was a Backstreet Boys car.
Well, there's my pick.
Yeah, I was going to go with that one, but you already picked it, so I just said rest of the field.
Perfectly allowable to have 2 picks of the same Backstreet Boys car.
Yeah.
It was...
Nobody, the rest of the field was awful. My boy Custer didn't have his custard paint scheme. He went back to Haas the Tool. I think it says it's a Haas the Tool or Haas Tools. Something about being a tool. I don't know.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, we need some better paint schemes. You know what? Go get all the guys that made like 70s album art and let them do paint schemes.
Oh, the guys who paint things on the side of vans in the 70s. I want those guys working on paint schemes.
Like with knights and dragons and you know what? Even some of the graffiti artists that we see would be a lot better than the paint schemes coming out of NASCAR.
That's what happens when you have to run everything by major companies for approval on your car.
Ooh, yeah. Are they doing real paint or are they mostly wraps?
They're all wraps now, so that they can switch them out quickly.
Smart.
It's disappointing. Paint looks better.
Yeah, that's true. NASCAR has changed their open exemption provisional rule, so they will expand the field by 1 if they reach 40, which is as confusing as most NASCAR rules. But how do they pick? If they're going to expand the field by 1, who gets that 1 extra provisional 1?
That was the Helio Castro, the rule that he invoked. NASCAR will, if someone applies for it that is a famous driver in another series, they'll award it to him. But I think it should go to whoever has the coolest mullet. Is who should be first in line for that.
Like, who's the YouTuber in the ARCA race for Daytona?
Let's get that guy in every race.
He was at least interesting and probably did better than Elio did.
They put him in the booth. Put him in the booth, too. That was fun.
Yeah, Elio got the special famous guy provisional spot and then was a big disappointment in the race.
Yeah, he was. Coming up next for NASCAR, the Miami Grand Prix. I mean, the Straight Talk Wireless 400 from Homestead Miami Speedway. That's less exciting.
Straight Talk Where are we like Zelensky in the White House straight talk? Or like, Mom, I have to tell you something straight talk?
The second one.
Okay.
So serious.
You don't have the cards. That's all I'm saying.
They should move it to the football field road course.
I would like to see that. Well, Indycar is still in silent mode because they don't understand momentum.
What's IndyCar?
Yeah, I've forgotten, all the people that were excited after St. Pete are like, what?
I did see that Rahal Racing has hired Toby Sowery on as a reserve and development driver. So I guess that counts as another Rahal driver that won't be making the Indy 500.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to see Rahal tears this year.
Oh, yes. So by at least one of them.
Somebody's not going to make it.
Well, and that's it for IndyCar. Coming up next would be the Arlington Grand Prix, if it was 2026 right now.
Well, at least there. You know what? I'm going to call that the Strickland Propane Grand Prix.
Strickland Propane and Propane Accessories.
Propane Accessories. That's right.
Instead, we get thermal.
Yeah. Wait, so are they taking thermal out for this Propane Grand Prix, or they're just going to stick it in there?
I don't think we've heard yet, but...
I hope they take... I mean, I'd rather have thermal than nothing, but...
Yeah, I'd rather have Arlington than thermal.
Yeah, they can push thermals, like, forward, so maybe it's only 1 week where you don't have a race, like Formula One.
Let's do that. Moving on to other racing. Penske Porsche had a 1-2 sweep at the 12 Hours of Sebring, just like they did at the 8 Hours of Qatar. So that's probably it for endurance racing this year.
They're going to dominate?
Porsche, yeah. IMSA and World Endurance, just Penske Porsche.
What's the 8 Hours of Qatar?
That's the World Endurance series that does Le Mans.
Man, who would want to spend 8 hours in Qatar? Sounds like, you got captured and they're trying to get information out of you, so...
That's pretty much what...
That's what it's... Unless you're actually Qatari and you get, like government money and you're an automatic millionaire for being born, for all the oil that they sell, for now.
I think that's how long they gave immigrants to build their soccer stadiums before they executed them for the
8
World
hours.
Cup.
8 hours.
These need to be done immediately.
In other news, Disney's releasing the Snow White movie that nobody wants to see. If you go to the YouTube comments section, it's more entertaining than the actual movie is.
They left the comments on.
They left the comments on.
Bold choice.
Which YouTube won't show you the number of likes and dislikes, but there are add-on software that will, so people have been listing... It's like likes 50,000, dislikes 1.6 million people to have push the thumbs down for YouTube. So there were some great comments. So we did a top 5 of the comments. And so the number 5 comment that people left after the Snow White trailer was, finally made a movie that no one will pirate.
That's true. Number 4. Poison Apple is the real hero.
Number 3 was, this movie wasn't released, it escaped.
Number 2, I'm glad there's not a theater near me.
And the number 1 comment was, this film should be rated N for nobody. Because nobody's going to watch it. The little kids are going to go see it anyway because there's nothing else out right now. But
man, that just looks creepy. CGI, dwarfs.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? Dwarf actors finally have a shot at a real feature-length film. Oh, you know what? No, we don't want dwarfs. Originally, they had 7 magical peoples, which... I saw the picture. It looked like a bunch of gypsies and hippies and people from Burning Man.
That sounds very Disney-ish.
Yeah. And then people complained, so they got rid of those guys and made them all CGI dwarfs.
This is going to be a rough one.
I don't know. Maybe this one will be so bad Disney will quit making these stupid live-action remakes.
But probably not.
The only one live action remake that I actually liked was Aladdin, because Will Smith was funny.
That was that was better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, that was the only thing he didn't do was like slap somebody for dissing his wife in the movie. That would have made it better, but other than that,
Well, put it in sequel.
yeah. No, they did a good job with Aladdin, but like we saw The Lion King, that was just weird watching animals try to talk like people.
Yeah, real lifelike looking animals.
Yeah, you know what? Disney just needs to stop. Somebody else said, well, they started with Snow White and they'll end with Snow White. Well, lastly, March Madness. Did you your bracket?
I did not. Am I too late?
Yeah, games started. Like the extra games
Oh,
that they started today. Because, they're trying to figure out how to make it as long as the NBA playoffs.
ooh, they're gonna have to add another 64 teams.
Yeah.
Everyone in the NCAA is in. Congratulations.
Somehow I do a family bracket, and winner gets like $10. Second place gets $5. So I have the children and my wife all fill out a bracket. I always end up winning. I don't know why. I'm not even that good at it.
Because you've heard of some of the schools before.
Yeah, you know what? The kids all just look at the numbers and pick the better ranked person, and they still lose.
That never works out for me.
Who did I think I ended up picking St. John to win the whole thing.
That's reasonable.
Yeah. I have to pick Michigan to go at least a couple rounds because that's my wife's school, and better to have your wife happy than be right on the bracket.
I just picked U of A to lose.
This is the only time I root for U of A.
Oh, I want them out in the first round immediately. Just upset every year.
How about Grand Canyon?
I think, are they playing U of A?
No, but they're in a different pool.
I'd like to see Grand Canyon win the entire tournament. Is there a good chance of that?
No, but apparently they took all the talent that might have went to Arizona State.
Jesus.
Arizona State's awful as usual.
We should move on to football, college football again. That was much better than basketball.
That was a lot of fun. Disappointing. Oregon was severely disappointed in football.
Jeez.
So was Texas. But anyway, yeah, I'm always confused by how I end up with the teams I end up with. But somebody once told me like a 15 or a 14 always wins in the first round somewhere.
Yeah, that seems right.
Yeah.
But never. That's as far as they usually go.
Yeah, they're all Cinderella for one round.
A 12, I think, can get all the way up to the top 4. I think they won it once, but that's usually the one that'll move along.
I don't even remember who won last year. Like, I don't pay attention. Once my bracket's busted, I stop paying attention.
I know. I don't remember. I don't really follow college basketball that well.
Yeah, I don't even watch pro basketball anymore. Ever since Charles Barkley left. He was the funnest guy in basketball. That's it for this week's show. We'll be back next week with wait, do we have a full? No, we don't have China.
No, China's a week off. We do
Yeah.
have some IndyCar, and we got some...
So we'll have 2 out of 3. We can always rely on NASCAR.
Yeah, every week, NASCAR.